watch it work, seeds of joy in every row. Come on down, we'll show you how what's fresh and green is growing now. At Bob's Market, we've got it all, from garden dreams to greenhouse halls. Catch the buzz, catch the show, where the best of the season grows. Tomatoes ripe, peppers bright, tips for keeping blooms in sight. Let's make your backyard glow. Tools and plants, advice for free. Bob's is where you want to be. At Bob's Market, we've got it all, from garden dreams to greenhouse halls. Catch the buzz, catch the show, where the best of the season grows.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Bob's Live. And I'm coming to you a little bit late today. I was actually getting my vehicle worked on this morning, and that kind of put me behind schedule. So literally the video that we're going to show today, I just finished editing it. And unfortunately, my phone went dead. So I had to run back out to my car because the charger that I have here at my desk isn't powerful enough to charge my phone. I need to get a new charger for in here. But anyhow, it took me a while because I had to charge up my phone enough to transfer the video over to the computer. So this week I headed up to our uptown location to check out this year's poinsettia crop. So I thought first off we would do that, and then we'll take a look at the weather, because as you might have noticed, I've got on long sleeves today because it's a little bit chilly outside. So we'll take a look at the weather and discuss some of the fall stuff that we have going on here at Bob's. Today I am here at our uptown greenhouse where we're growing this year's poinsettia. And as you can see, they're still green. So let's talk about that. So right now the poinsettias are still green. It's not until later on that their upper leaves will start to change color. So on a poinsettia, the coloration that you see isn't really a bloom. It is just a change in leaf color, or as they're called on poinsettias, it is the bracts that change color. And it's dependent on day length. So this time of year, you might have noticed outside that the days are getting shorter, and that's what tells a poinsettia that it's time for it to change. The color change isn't unlike leaves changing color in the fall. In fact, the red pigment is already here in these leaves. If I lift up the leaves, you can see that the stems are red. So the red pigment is already there. What happens when they change color is the green pigment goes away. So what happens if you don't have red pigment? So if you don't have red pigment and this green pigment goes away, you end up with white poinsettia leaves. And you can actually see the center vein here already has kind of a white tone to it. So that's how we end up with the white color in the leaves. And if you have a little bit of red pigment, you might end up with a pink colored leaf. Or depending on how the pigment leaves the leaves, well, that's fun to say, you might end up with a marbled leaf. So spotted white and red. And that's how you get the variations in poinsettia leaf colors. Now we're growing a ton of poinsettias here. The bulk of these will be red. That's by far the most popular color. But we do grow a bunch of different varieties and a bunch of different color patterns. So when you head out to the store to pick out your poinsettia, check out some of the different varieties available. And then we also have different container sizes. So over on this side, we have an entire sea of 6-inch pots. So these are a little bit smaller poinsettias. And then over on this side, we have 8-inch and 10-inch pots. And then also these giant containers going down the aisles here. And these containers, most of them are going to be red, but we also have some that are a mixture. And that's a quick look at the progress of our poinsettia crop. Of course, I'll check back in with it as it starts to change color this fall. And that's a quick look at this year's poinsettia crop. So yeah, it's still green right now. It hasn't started to change. I did notice on some of the poinsettias, you are starting to get little lighter patches where the green is starting to leave the leaves. Leave the leaves. That's but we are starting to get little patches where they are starting to just barely start to change. And right now the days are getting shorter. This time of year they tend to get shorter quicker. And here in a couple weeks we're just like 2-3 weeks away from the time change. So yeah, winter time and those long cold winter nights that I really don't like, they're just around the corner. And well, along with the days getting shorter, that means that the temperatures are cooling down. And if we jump over to the weather, yeah, right now it is 60 degrees out. At least it's sunny today. That's helping a little bit with the cold temperatures, but 60 is a lot cooler than it has been here in our area. And the temperatures this morning, they were downright frigid. I know my wife, when she was leaving for work this morning, she got like the low tire pressure light on her car because, where it's cooler out, the air inside the car tire condenses, drops the pressure. And on her car, it's like super sensitive. So if it's just a couple pounds low, it goes off. But I ran outside like in a shorts and t-shirt, to check the car tires. Just to kind of look at them, say, yeah, they're okay. You're good to go. It was, whoa, that'll wake you up in the morning. But yeah, it was in the 40s here this morning. We're looking at down around 40 degrees tonight. And then we're going to start climbing back up a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a little bit. So we're going to be back up around 70 tomorrow, 71, then 70. But the nighttime temperatures are going to go up about 10 degrees. So we're going to go from about 40 up to about 50. And then, if I can get it, it always reloads when I click on it. Heading into next week, it looks like a lot more of the same. So temperatures in 60s, 70s, which is more seasonable for this time of year. We've kind of been, in fake summer for a little while. Sometimes you'll get a cold snap and then it warms up to like the 80s. And then you get another cold snap and you're like, oh, it was fake summer. Oh, we haven't really had that this fall. It's just stayed warm until now. And now it's just sort of dropped off.
So yeah, we're back into more seasonable temperatures. And unfortunately, we are getting extremely close to the time of year where we get the first frosts of the season. Um, so that is something that we need to start looking at and preparing for as gardeners. And if you haven't yet, I recommend heading over and checking out the Keep Growing podcast. Um, it's available, it's on our website, but it's also available everywhere where you can get podcasts. And now that we're getting into kind of frost season and outdoor gardening is slowing down, I'm doing one episode a month covering all the gardening tasks for that month. And then I'm going to do another episode like mid month where we dive into a little bit deeper topic. So this month, the the monthly gardening episode, it went out this last week, and next week on Saturday we're going to be uploading another episode, and it's going to be focusing on getting your garden tools ready for winter. That's something that a lot of us gardeners, I'm kind of guilty of it, that we sometimes kind of skip over. We just shove everything in the garage and forget about it until springtime. And then in the springtime, we've got dirty, rusty, dull equipment to work with. So, something that's better to do in the fall is clean all the dirt off your tools, sharpen them, and give them a nice coat of oil to keep rust from forming on them during the winter. And then you also have your power equipment, so your rototiller, lawnmowers, weed eaters, all that needs, cleaned up and taken care of. And I was going to do a whole episode on like sharpening the blades and everything on my riding lawnmower. Um, Unfortunately, I was mowing last weekend and the belt broke. So that was like, hey, I gotta fix it as soon as possible sort of thing. Um, so, I didn't have time to set up a camera for that. So I just got it done, but I am going to talk and probably do a video on winterizing your lawnmower. One of the things that I like to do is I stick it on a trickle charger over the winter, just to make sure that the battery doesn't die on it. I also top off the gas tank and add in a fuel stabilizer, just to keep that fresh through the winter. And then also, I like to change the oil. So that's another thing that I do in the fall. So I'll be doing an episode on that here a little bit later this fall. And well, that is all that I have for this week's episode. And yeah, next week I did have a list right here. It's over here now. Yeah, I don't have anything specific on the list for next week, so I gotta come up with a topic. And something we might do is dig into some of the videos from my trip over the summer. I'd sort of teased at that earlier, and then things happened, and I just haven't had time to sit down and edit the video yet. This coming Tuesday, we are having a terrarium workshop at the Gallipolis Library. Unfortunately, that event has already filled up. So we did it a couple weeks ago, and basically we had such a huge response for that. They actually had a waiting list, and now this is the waiting list group of people. If you are interested, though, you might want to contact the Bassard Library. I'm not sure if they have any openings or not. I think it's $12 to do the workshop, but yeah, that is something that we're working on, and in the future we're going to be doing some more presentations and workshops with them. So that's something that you can look forward to in the future. And oh, last but not least, this week is Green Career Week. So you might have noticed on our Facebook page that we're doing periodic posts about different job positions in the greenhouse and here at Bob's, and talking a little bit about that because the career options in our industry go beyond just growing plants. You know, like me, I'm the IT guy, so I'm usually behind a keyboard and looking at a computer screen, not really out in the greenhouse, but there's a ton of different career opportunities. Oh, okay, so Rich Chapman, he's given me a great idea for next week. Talk about splitting or propagation of fall plants. Yeah, so I might, no pun intended, I might dig into that because I have hostas that need to be split. So yeah, we could talk about that and planting spring bulbs maybe. That might be another good topic. So yeah, I'll definitely look into that. Yeah, I always kind of like to do a video about it. So if it's something that I have available in my yard or that I can find in somebody's garden that's a willing volunteer, yeah, I might do that. If not, I can always put together a slideshow and talk you through it. So I think that might actually be our topic for next week. And well, that is all that I have for this week's episode of Bob's Live. So until next time, keep growing.
At Bob's Market, we've got it all, from garden dreams to greenhouse halls. Catch the buzz, catch the show, where the best of the season grows.